The Razer Opus are a pair of very well-built $200 ANC headphones that definitely give the Sony WH-CH710N and Sennheiser HD450BTs a real run for their money. But when it comes to their performance, there are some key differences that you definitely want to keep in mind if you're looking into getting any of these entry-level headphones. So let's see which one's right for you. Now, first off, when it comes to price, all of these headphones retail for $200, but the Sennheiser HD450BTs do sometimes like to go on sale for $150, and so do the Sony WH-CH710Ns. And sometimes the Sonys might go on sale for a little less. And I'm just gonna flat out say it, I would not pay full price for the Sonys. I only recommend that you get the Sony WH-710Ns if they're on sale. But with all that being said, if you want to pick any of these headphones up, there'll be a link down below. But now we gotta talk about the included carrying cases that come with these headphones. Unfortunately, the Sonys don't come included with any kind of a case. They don't even come included with a carrying pouch. Then there are the Sennheisers that come included with a soft shell case where you can keep your cable stored. But then there are the Opus that come included with a very premium hard shell carrying case. This is the same type of case that you would get if you were to buy a pair of premium ANC headphones. So this case is definitely a big plus for the Opus. And another big plus for the Opus is their build quality. The Razer Opus are built more like a pair of $250 headphones rather than $200 headphones. They have smooth plastic body panels, there's a very satisfying click when you extend their headband, and the leatherette on these headphones feels great. The leatherette on these headphones is soft, smooth, and there's a slight grain to it. And like I said in the full review, this leatherette puts the leatherette that you'll find on the $350 Sony 1000 XM3s to shame. Now, the Sennheisers also have really good build quality, and these headphones are built like a tank. But the build quality on the Sennheisers is more in line of what you'd expect from a pair of $200 headphones. And then there are the Sonys. Now, even though these headphones have very little cracking or squeaking whenever you handle them, which is a big improvement from their predecessors, these headphones feel very flimsy and cheap. And then there's the leatherette on these headphones. The leatherette on these headphones feels very coarse, and you can really feel all of that coarseness when you're wearing these headphones. So, to me, the Sony WH-710Ns feel more like a toy than anything else. So, plainly said, the Opus have spectacular build quality, and the Sennheisers also have decent build quality, but the Opus are just better. And when it comes to fit, again, the Opus are the flat-out winners here. These headphones have a very little clamping force, so they're big head approved. The ear pads are the most spacious ones here, so they should be able to accommodate most ear types. And these headphones are also pretty lightweight, so you can wear the Opus for hours on end without any problems. Now, the Sonys fit okay, and they also don't have a lot of clamping force, but I can't help but feel that these headphones rest a little awkwardly on your head, and then there's the matter of their ear pads. The earpads on the Sonys have a very wide diameter to them, but they have a very low ceiling, so they aren't all that deep. So for me, these earpads still end up pressing down on my ears, which really don't stick out all that much. And also, like I mentioned earlier, the leatherette on these headphones is very coarse, which doesn't feel all that great when they're pressing up against your head. And then there are the HD450BTs. Objectively, these are not the most comfortable headphones here. First off, these headphones do have a firmer fit to them because they do have more clamping force, but I would still say that they are big head approved. But the biggest drawback about these headphones are their ear pads. These ear pads are pretty cramped and the padding on these headphones is pretty stiff. So personally for me, even though I can wear these headphones for hours on end, it does take me a while to adjust these headphones until they finally sit just right. So overall, when it comes to case, build, and fit, the Razer Opus just decimate both the Sony WH-710Ns and Sennheiser HD450BTs. But now let's talk about tech specs. All of these headphones charge via a USB-C port, so if you're an Android user, you can charge your phone and headphones with the same cable. But it's really important to keep in mind that all of the USB-C ports on all of these headphones are strictly used for charging. You can't use any of these USB-C ports as a wired connection like you can with some other headphones out there. Now, when it comes to their battery lives, in general, all of these headphones have decent battery lives, but the Razer Opus are good for up to 25 hours with their ANC turned on, whereas the Sennheisers are good for up to 30 hours with their ANC turned on. And then there are the Sonys, which are good for up to 35 hours with their ANC turned on. And also, keep in mind, you can always stretch out the battery lives on all of these headphones if you use them with their ANC turned off. But now let's talk about Bluetooth connectivity. All of these headphones have stable Bluetooth connections, but the Sennheisers are the only headphones here that can be simultaneously connected to any two Bluetooth devices at the same time, so that you can easily hot swap from one device to another. Now, ultimately, it isn't a huge deal that neither the Sonys or the Opus can do this, but it is nice to be able to hot swap from one device to another, and this is also something that some power users might want to take note of. Now, when it comes to watching movies or videos on your phone, the Razer Opus have zero latency across the board, whether you're using an iPhone or an Android device, which is good. Whereas with both the Sonys and the Sennheisers, they both do have a slight latency to them whenever you watch YouTube videos on an iPhone, but everything else about them is perfectly fine. But when it comes to audio codecs, the Sennheisers have support for both aptX and aptX low latency, whereas the Razer Opus only have support for aptX. And then there are the Sonys, which top out at AAC. But ultimately, if you want, you can always just use a wired connection with any of these headphones because all of these headphones still have an audio jack. But now let's talk about listening to music with these headphones. Without a doubt, the Sennheisers are the best sounding headphones here. Now, even though these headphones do have an adjustable EQ, I feel these headphones sound best when they're set to their stock neutral EQ. Now, in their stock EQ, these headphones have strong mids, so vocals are front and center, and the bass on these headphones resonates nice and deep. Now, the bass on these headphones is going to rattle your head, but not all that much, but it is something. But performance-wise, these headphones have far better instrument separation and a much wider soundstage than these other two headphones. Plainly said, if you're looking for the headphones here with the best sound, then the HD 450BTs are the way to go. Now, the Razer Opus also sound decent, but these aren't my favorite sounding headphones. First off, the instrument separation and soundstage on these headphones just isn't as good as the Sennheisers, but more importantly, the bass on these headphones just lack any physicality to them. The bass on these headphones isn't going to rattle your head, and the bass on these headphones also doesn't really resonate. Now, even though these headphones do have 5 different EQ settings to choose from, I feel these headphones sound best when they're set to their stock THX EQ. Now, in their stock THX EQ, these headphones are somewhat similar to the Sennheisers, because they also have strong mids, so vocals are very pronounced, but their highs are a little brighter. But keep in mind, the bass on these headphones lack physicality to them, and the soundstage on these headphones isn't as wide as the HD 450BTs. But these headphones do get the job done. And finally, there are the WH-CH710Ns, which are my least favorite sounding headphones here. First off, these headphones do not have an adjustable EQ like their predecessors do. And I'm not really a fan of the bass-heavy EQ these headphones are rocking. These headphones sound very shallow, and if you actually want to hear the mids on these headphones, you gotta turn these headphones all the way up. And even though these headphones have a bass-heavy EQ, the bass on these headphones doesn't really physically rattle your head like their predecessors do. The bass on these headphones is mostly on the audible side. So with the WH-710Ns, all you really hear is a whole lot of bass, some vocals, and then the instrumentals are just jumbled up in the background. So sound quality wise, the Sennheiser HD 450BTs are top notch here. The Razer Opus get the job done, and personally I would avoid the Sonys. But now let's talk about the active noise cancellation on these headphones. Plainly said, the Razer Opus block out significantly more noise than these other two headphones. It's not even close. But so that you can see for yourself, we're going to jump into an ANC test. So, like you may have just seen, the Razer Opus block out significantly more noise than these other two headphones across the board. And like I said in the full review, with the Razer Opus, you are getting near premium ANC performance for $200. But even though the Razer Opus block out a lot of noise, especially for $200 headphones, they go about it with brute force. If you are not playing music through these headphones, you're going to feel a considerable amount of cabin pressure. Or if you're watching movies with these headphones, you're going to feel some constant pressure. It's not as bad as the Bose QC35s, which do give me headaches, but you might have to pop your ears from time to time. And like I said in the full review, the Razer Opus do have an above average amount of cabin pressure for ANC headphones getting released in 2020. Whereas with these other two headphones, you barely feel any cabin pressure, which ultimately leads to better comfort. Because personally for me, I only use the ANC on the Opus when I have to. So even though, yeah, the Opus block out way more noise than these other two headphones, the major trade-off here is going to be that cabin pressure, which is usually associated with either cheaper or older ANC headphones. But now let's talk about the ambient modes on these headphones. Unfortunately, the Sennheisers don't have an ambient mode. And with the Opus, if you press and hold on this button, they'll mute your music and pump in all of the ambient sound around you, like this. And then, when you let go, they'll go back to normal. But unfortunately, with the Opus, you can't have their ambient mode turned on and have them play music at the same time, like you can with the Sonys. So, realistically, the Sonys are the only headphones here with an actual ambient mode, which can be super useful for when you're walking around the city, or even for when you're watching Avatar: The Last Airbender at home for the third time. But just keep in mind, you can't adjust how much noise these headphones let in, like you can with Sony's other headphones. But performance-wise, the ambient mode on the Sonys is really good because it sounds very natural with zero hissing in the background. And this ambient mode does a really good job of rejecting wind noise when walking outdoors. But something that these headphones do have that these other two headphones don't is that they have wear sensors. So when you take these headphones off, they'll automatically pause your music, and then when you put them back on, they'll start playing your music again. Now personally, I'm not the biggest fan of wear sensors on any of my headphones, but at least the wear sensors on these headphones are fairly accurate. So they're not going to start to randomly play and pause your music when you're walking around with these headphones. And you can always just turn off the wear sensors on these headphones through their app. But finally, here's the microphone test. Now, first off, I do have this AC unit turned on because I want to showcase what kind of a job these headphones do isolating just your voice. Now, I feel that the microphone on all of these headphones aren't amazing, but I do think the microphone on the Sonys is the worst sounding microphone here. This microphone has a lot of amplification to it, but for some reason I still sound very muffled. Whereas the microphone on the Sennheisers doesn't have nearly as much amplification to it, but I still sound a little shallow. But nonetheless, I do think the microphone on the Sennheisers is still usable for like a quick phone call. And the microphone on the Razer Opus isn't amazing either, because I still sound a little muffled. But I do think the microphone on the Razer Opus is usable for like a quick phone call as well. But with all that being said, going with any of these headphones does have their pros and cons. The Razer Opus absolutely decimate the Sony WH-CH710N and Sennheiser HD 450BTs when it comes to build quality and fit. And the fact that these headphones also come included with a premium carrying case is a big plus. But sound quality wise, these headphones sound good enough, but I don't think these headphones are going to please everyone because their bass lacks physicality. And also, even though these headphones block out a lot of noise, they also have considerably more cabin pressure than these other two headphones, which can be uncomfortable. And finally, there's the fact that these headphones don't have an actual ambient mode, which when I first got these headphones, I assumed they did because these headphones have an NC/ambient button on them. But nonetheless, the Razer Opus are still a very solid pick if you're looking for a pair of $200 ANC headphones. But personally for me, hands down, I do prefer to listen to music with the Sennheiser HD 450BTs, because they have that rich, deep resonating bass and a wide soundstage. The thing to look out with these headphones is that they might not fit everybody perfectly because of their cramped earpads and firm fit. And finally, there are the Sonys. Personally, I would not pay more than $150 for these headphones because they feel so cheap. And their bass-heavy EQ isn't my favorite. But if you are looking for a decent active noise cancellation with minimal cabin pressure, and if you really need or want an ambient mode for commuting, the Sony WH-CH710N are the way to go here. If you made it this far, I guess you enjoyed the video, so hit that like button and get subscribed. It helps out more than you realize. If you want to pick any of the products up mentioned in this video, those will be linked in the description down below, and you can also support the channel by checking out the merch store. But other than that, I'll catch you next time.